It started a few months ago, around her birthday. Claire came home from work and was smelling like Axe body spray. At first I brushed it off. Not my wife. She loves me. We have been faithful to each other for years. But then the doubts started to creep in. I've had to start working late shifts, weekends too. Since we have been behind on our mortgage, my time at home has literally been less than 5 or 6 hours a day, and most of that time was spent asleep. But she rarely complained. In fact, most of the time she seemed happier when I left. Then one day I tried to kiss her on her neck and I saw a blemish there, as though someone else's lips had touched her skin. My first mistake was confronting her head on about it. Of course she denied. She yelled. She called me the bad guy. Typical cheater behavior. Worst of all, she got what she wanted. Insisted I start sleeping downstairs and saying that we needed a separation. Maybe even a divorce. All I got out of it was desperation and depression. She insisted that she was still faithful to me, but all the signs were there. I just didn't have the proof to back it up. What you need is a security system for your home, my buddy Chad said one night when I went to drink away my troubles. Wouldn't she realize what I was getting it for? I pointed out. So don't tell her. Wait until she is out of the house. And make it discreet. You know, cameras and the smoke alarms. Shit like that, he said as he downed his whiskey. His half-brained scheme didn't sound that bad. And I knew that Claire had said she was going to spend the next few days at her mother's house to supposedly let things cool down between us. If I was going to get to the bottom of this, it was now or never. So that's what I did. As soon as I knew that she was gone, I contacted a local shop and had them come that afternoon. The technician didn't ask any questions, just put them exactly where I said that I wanted them and even threw in one of those doll cams as an extra bonus. I gave it to Claire as a peace offering, saying that I was sorry for the accusations. Sounds stupid, I know. What are the chances she would even leave the doll around to let me listen in on her? But then I know my wife. She is sweet and kind and loving, sure, but she is also very predictable. She put the stuffed doll exactly where I thought she would. I let a few more days pass, kept things amicable between us as I went to and from work. Then the next time I was off, when she again insisted that she didn't want to spend any time with me alone, I went to check the cameras. Finally, I could get the answers that I was looking for. The grainy tape started up around 13 minutes past 7 the previous night. That was about half an hour after I left for work. And I saw my wife sitting there on the bed, wearing nothing but a sheer robe staring up at the ceiling. At first I puzzled over what she might be doing. She was perfectly still, her back turned against the camera as she took off her robe, and I saw what looked like little marks on the edge of her shoulders. Then I saw a man enter the picture and I knew. I was right. She placed him on the bed, ready to mount him, and I almost wanted to turn and look away, disgusted with what she was about to do. Then, to my amazement, I watched as those little bumps began to gently push her skin outward. At first it wasn't noticeable. Just a slow curling of her back. Then suddenly the movement quickened and long pieces of bone broke out on either side. They made a cracking noise as I heard my wife scream out. I don't know if it was a sound of pleasure or pain. The bones pushed to the side and started to form sinew and stretched the skin to its limit. And I realized they were forming what appeared to be wings. Her lean form bent over toward the man that she had been seducing for the night, and I watched in abject terror as her mouth widened to reveal rows of sharp teeth, more than even a shark might have. Her lover's screams were now the ones that filled the void of the room. Blood splattered on our clean sheets. Muscle and skin ripped apart like wrapping paper. Her fingers gnawing into his open chest cavity like claws as she ripped out his beating heart and then began to chew on it like a piece of jerky. Her wings spread wide and she lifted her meal from the bed, moving him to the floor right in front of the camera to finish him off. I don't know how long she continued to eat. I couldn't bear to watch any longer. Then I looked toward the room in confusion, trying to understand how it was possible for the video to correlate with my pristine room. I never knew her to be a good cleaner, and surely there had to be some trace evidence of the bodies she had likely disposed of time and time again. Then I heard a noise behind me, and I turned to see her standing there. She saw that I was looking at the footage, and I am certain that if I could see my face it was likely paler than a ghost. Without a word, Claire crossed the room and looked down at the doll, playing with the strings like a cat might a ball of yarn. Then she crushed it slowly in her hand. It took less than a few seconds for her to reduce it to rubble. Moving to the bed, she crossed her legs and smiled at me that same way she had when we first started dating. "So, what happens now?" she asked. I found myself at a loss for words. Then finally I went over toward her and smiled nervously, remembering the other cameras in the house. Remembering she didn't know what all I had seen or if I had saved anything. I get everything in the divorce. Or I will leak what I have all over the internet to every priest, demon hunter and damn X-file junkie there is. Are we clear? I said with the best poker face I could muster. I knew she could kill me in a heartbeat. But I also knew if that was her goal she would have done that years ago. She needed me, for what I don't know. But all she did was nod and kiss me slowly. It was fun while it lasted. Wasn't it? She asked as she got up from the bed. I never saw her again after that night and I hope I never do. Oh, and one more thing. I don't think I'm ever going to uninstall these cameras. Comment 1. Op, she obviously cares about you, otherwise she would have eaten you too. You said she's sweet, kind, and loving. She had to have put in an effort to be that way, since she probably isn't like that by nature, seeing she is what she is. I would have stayed with her, acknowledged the fact that now the secret is out and that you recognize that she cares for you since she didn't eat you, and live kind of like you did before. Maybe go to couples counseling. I would build a separate bedroom for her to do her thing in, maybe one that's a lot easier to clean, so your bedroom is yours for the two of you, and you don't feel violated in that space. She kept it a secret from you for a long time, probably because she felt ashamed and worried that you would leave or that you would be scared of her. She really cared for you, she just needs to eat humans apparently, and she spared you. Comment 2. I understand why you reacted out of fear the way you did. But I'd have so many questions. Is she a demon? If so, what type? Details in general about different demons/monsters. Why did she marry you? Why hasn't she killed you like the others? How the hell did she keep the house so clean? Also, is the reason she's been feeding so much because she is pregnant? I mean, after all these years of not getting caught. I figure she didn't need to feed too often normally. But then became pregnant and suddenly needed to eat more often. Which caused her to get caught. Comment 3. A lot of people saying, oh, she cared for you in the comments. IDK about that. I think she just didn't want police snooping around the house if you went missing. She's got no real connection to these random dudes that the police would know about. Unless she was seen with them at a public place. Look at it like this. Say she actually killed you, the cops would obviously do a ton of forensic investigation in the house, and who's to say that they not only find traces of your blood, but the traces of her previous victims. Seems to me like you were just a tool that she could use to avoid suspicion. I doubt you'll hear from her again, she may even remarry. Comment 4. I'd have asked some questions. By now you were already deep enough down that rabbit hole to where trying to figure out the details wouldn't have hurt you, and it would have been good to know what you were dealing with and why she needed you. Might want to get some kind of personal defenses set up too. You may have pissed off something way more powerful than you, and these things have long memories and can be very petty and vengeful. Comment 5. When they go out of our way to protect you, you still run screaming, though their instincts were obviously held tight. They obviously loved you enough to push you away when the frenzy and cravings got to be too hard to resist. The hot rush of salty copper, the buttery give and then chewy pull of the skin and muscle between my teeth, that powerful feeling and flushed satiation of a mind and body wrenching hunger. Every time you came into the room, there was that pull, that urge, that need. Do you know the strength of will and love it takes to push that down? I'm beginning to think it's not worth the struggle. Comment 6. Uda, she obviously cares for you, proven by the fact that she only killed strangers. She never cheated on you and never did anything to harm you. She was even kind at the end, and you had the guts to threaten that sweet lady. You should have asked her first and try to discuss things before listening to a drunk friend about how to solve this. Seriously, the only good thing you did was to stop being with her, forcing her to live with someone who doesn't love her. Comment 7. This is what I thought too. I would have said, what happens now? Well, it looks like you already had dinner, you want to go out for dessert and cocktails. She wasn't cheating on Op. Apparently she was super hungry and couldn't eat while Op was there and felt finally he left so I can eat now. Knowing that she couldn't do it with Op there. Even if he did know, face it, it's easier to lure a meal home than the husband isn't sitting on the couch, then they get there like, hey dude. Maybe, build her another bedroom for food so she isn't doing in your shared bedroom. One that is easier to clean. Clearly, she loved him because other than love there was no reason to keep him alive. A dead person can't leak videos, and a dead person doesn't get anything in a divorce. Sound like Op forgot to love her for better or for worse. Comment 8. I get you, I have had 3 kids and am in my 40s, so I've grown into them better. Boobs are magical for some reason, But these mesmerize babies and toddlers, boys not even in junior high, and God the nasty men remarks. They just grew in one night, though I had been big on the boobs by something I was allergic to. I was 16 and taunted for being the president of our town's chapter of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee. So when a 5 feet nothing 80-pound petite girl, I definitely got noticed. I worked at Chili's as a hostess at 16, and men would ask if they were real and kinda honk ah ooh ga as they squeezed them. It was when I was a naive people pleaser before I learned to drop sizzling fajita plates on them when I ran their food, or make sure as I set things down elbow their pine in their lap. Comment 9. Sorry to hear that. A heart-shaped patch would be awesome though. If you have to wear one, it may as well be one you like. I myself don't need one IRL, but I love cosplaying as characters with them. They make some really badass looking ones nowadays. You can always be creative and make your own as well. Comment 10. Op should have listened to her first. Yay, that's scary, but consider, why would she not kill you? She's a goddamn demon that doesn't adhere to human morale, more so to our justice system, yet she doesn't kill you. Wanna know why? Probably love, maybe something else. Op wouldn't be a secret demon even he doesn't know about. Thanks you for watching. Everyday new movies. See you soon.